Okay, section 1.1, Introduction to Whole Numbers. We're going to understand the decimal system, write whole numbers in standard and expanded notation, read and write whole numbers in words, and we won't get into reading tables today. So, continuing on. The whole numbers and the natural numbers, or counting numbers, and the number 0. Okay, natural numbers, as you can see, they're represented by this little stylized N, and they represent the numbers from 1 all the way to infinity, and they go in increments of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so notice there's no decimals, there's no fractions in here, well, technically. Okay, and then also the whole numbers are almost just exactly like the natural numbers, except we're including 0 in that explanation. Okay, and these are just definitions of numbers that we're going to get used to over time. You're just going to hear them enough, and the reason we have definitions for things like this is so we can add better explanations later on in math, and it won't be so convoluted or hard. Actually, these definitions that you may think are weird now help you understand things a little bit better later on. And this also makes a very good note that 0 is a whole number but not a natural number. Let's continue on. Okay, the decimal system, or the base 10 system, which is what we base our number system on, is a place value system that depends on 3 things. 1, okay, the 10 digits, the ones we all know, 0, 1 through 9, okay? And the placement of each digit is number 2. And 3, the value of each place, which we're going to see plenty of. You're going to get plenty of examples through this, and you'll understand more what this is talking about, especially for 2 and 3. So let's do our first example so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, example 1, understanding place value. Looking back up here, notice placement. Okay, we're going to go with example 2, number 2 right here. Okay, so given the number 35,472, which digit indicates the number of, thousands, tens, hundreds. Okay, well, to do this, we actually kind of need to know our place values, which means I'm going to jump all the way down here to the bottom of this lesson so you kind of have an idea of what we're talking about, and then we'll jump back up. Looking here, notice that when we start at 0, like here's our decimal right here, okay? We have the ones, tens, hundreds, okay? You can think of this having $1, $10, $100, or come over here, you have $1,000, 10,000, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 million, and it just goes on and on and on, okay? So notice this is going to be our place values that we're talking about, and we'll get into hyphens here in just a little bit, so don't worry about that. So let's look up above, let's go back to the top here, and notice that if we started labeling this, we can see that this will be our ones, okay, and then we have our tens, and then we have our hundreds. Okay, I'll come up here to the top, then we have thousands, then we have 10,000s. Sorry for my handwriting. And then here we have 100,000s. And I'll just abbreviate that. So what we're going to do is, looking through here, let's see what's in the thousands place. Well, let's go ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and notice that this 0 right here is in our thousands place. Well, how about the tens? Think of having $10. Where would that be at on here? Well, that's going to be right here. That's going to be the 7. And then looking, how about the hundreds? Well, we're just going to be 1 over from the tens, and that's going to be 4. Okay? And with practice, all of this is going to become very natural to you, so don't start freaking out about this yet. So let's go to the next one. For the number 37,895, state the place value of each digit. Okay, well, let's look through here. We've still got them. I'm going to do this in just numeric. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and then we've got the 10,000s. So we can come in here and start looking at it. Solution here is 3 is going to be in our 10,000s place. Okay, so I'm just going to put 10,000 there. And how about the 7? Well, 7 is going to be in the 1,000. And we want to continue this on here. You can just put thousands, and that's a DS at the end. Get rid of this. Okay, and then for 8, notice we are in the hundreds place. Okay, and that would just be written as hundreds. Okay, 9 would be in our tens, okay, and 5 would be in our ones. Okay, so you got kind of a good mixture of how you see this numerically and just written out. So continuing on, write each number in expanded notation. What they're saying here when they say expanded notation is they're saying take the place value and how many of that number would be in that position. So notice here we have the hundreds, we have the tens, and we have the ones. I'll just put that little apostrophe S in there. So what they're saying for expanded notation, so notice for the 9, that means we have 900 of them. Well, for the 5, since it's in the tens place, and there's a 5 there, we would have 50. And for the ones, well, how many ones we have? That would just be 4 ones. And that's how we would do things in expanded notation. And we can continue on with this example of looking at some larger numbers. Notice, write each number in expanded notation. We got 32,081. Well, here's the 30,000. It's going to be right there. Well, then how much is the next number? Well, that's just going to be 2,000. And then notice how the next number is 0. We don't have to represent zeros. We can go straight over here. So in the 100s place, there isn't any. It's just 0. So we go straight over here to the tens and notice that we have 80 tens and then 1, which is shown. Well, continuing on with this 497,500, notice in the 100,000s place, we have 400,000. In the 90,000 place, we have 90,000. Okay, let's continue on. Notice we have 7,000. And then we have this 500. And then, like I stated, when you have these zeros, okay, you don't have to write this. So don't write zeros. Okay? So, reading and writing whole numbers. You should note that the following 4 things when reading or writing whole numbers. Digits are read in periods, groups of 3, which I'll show you shortly. Commas are used to separate the periods if a number has more than 4 digits. Okay? Basically like 10,000, but we wouldn't do it for like 1,000. Though sometimes we will, sometimes we won't. It's kind of like one of those, like it says here, it's optional. The word and does not appear in whole numbers written in words. And is said only when reading a decimal point. Okay? Which we won't be doing in this lesson. And here once again is our number line. And notice here in the number line, we do have these groups of 3 here. So here's the ones period. Here's the thousands period. Here's the millions period. And we could keep going with this. And notice like here you could have 10 billions, 100 billions. After that you get into the trillions. Okay, and then just so on and so forth. Okay, hyphens. Hyphens are used to write words for the 2-digit numbers from 21 to 99, except for those that end in zeros. For example, 21, 35, okay? So remember, that would be 35, or 21, okay? You hyphen those, just 21 through 99, but not the ones that end in 0. So let's take a look at some examples here. Write each number. Each number is written in standard notation. Write it in words. So let's come over here. I'm going to change this to black. Okay, notice we have 25,000. Okay, so I'll write that as 20 hyphen 5 because it is in between our 21 and 99. Then I'm going to put a comma. Okay, then notice I have the 300 because it's in the hundreds place. 300. Don't put an 80. Don't put an and. Just put 380. And that would be it. You're done. Okay? So for B, we can come here and notice we're in that millions place here. So I could put 3 million, comma. Well, notice there's nothing here, so I don't have to write anything here. Okay? I can jump straight to this hundreds place and go 3 million, okay, 500, okay, 60 hyphen 2. Okay, notice everything is being there's a comma for every sort of 3 period, and then we're separating everything, so it looks really nice. Let's come in here. Each number is written in words. Write it in standard notation. Basically, put it back in numbers. Okay, so I've got 27,000. Well, I know what a 27 looks like. Okay, 336. Okay, I noticed because I'm going to 300, there's going to be a comma here because I'm going to a different period. So I'm going to have 300, yes, and 36. So that would be the number in standard notation, and you can go backwards and forwards. Okay, then notice I got 340 million. Well, okay, 340 million. Okay, I'll put the comma there, and you're going to see that whenever you see like these commas, copy the commas. Okay, if they're doing it right, then they should be okay. Then 62,000. Notice it's not saying 600 or anything, so I know that my hundreds place is gone, and so it's going to have just a 0 there, but then I'm going to have that 62,000. Okay, and then finish this off, 48. Notice, once again, they're not mentioning hundreds there, so I can put the 0 there, and then just put 48. And then that finishes off this lesson.